boom, boom, boom. Happy Thursday, family. Tell me what y'all think about that track. That was actually custom made by a good friend of mine who is an audio producer. And so, we do all things in excellence, excellence in everything, every time. That includes the instrumental that y'all hear. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Teenage Thursday. I'm Linnita Hosten, and you see the title, The Cost of Graduating College. And as you know, for the month of October, we've been doing this graduation tests, graduation ready series with the intent of challenging parents and educators to challenge their students to think about some of the action steps that they should be focusing on as they prepare for life after high school. And so as soon as we get back from our introduction, we'll walk through a review of what we discussed. And then tonight, I'm going to give you one creative way to not only research, but to conceptualize the actual cost that your students will incur or your children will incur after high school, right after this introduction. Hey family, hey Charles. Charles is watching live. Thank you for joining tonight, Charles. I love your discussion with Raven. Yes, Meltania says she loves that track. So do I. I love it. I have a second one too. There are two of them. Charles said, I'm still paying. What cost? I'm still paying. Me too. I am still paying as well. In fact, I saw that the millennial generation is the generation that has incurred the largest amount of student loan debt. And I'm not surprised by that, because that is when the push for attending or students having some form of post high school education, that's when that major push happened. So listen, I'm Linnita Hosten, and high school parents and community leaders hire me to help students devise a post high school plan. I'm super passionate about preparing our kids to be competitive, competent, and confident as they pursue their dream careers and ultimately make those that they love very proud. And so for the month of October, we've been talking about getting your child graduation ready. And really quickly, I want to recap what we've been discussing. The first week, we talked about what is your dream, getting your child or your student very clear on what it is that they're aiming to achieve. Week 2, we talked about what is required of you to get to your dream. Like, okay, now that you're dreaming about it, what you going to do about it? Week 3, we talked about who can help you. Like, how are you building your support tribe to help you accomplish those things? So if you did not catch any of those 3, you gotta go on back. It was good. My favorite was probably week 3. But tonight I want to jump into the actual cost of college or any post high school option. But specifically, I want to talk about college tonight. I say that because back in August, I did a series about the 10 options that students have after high school. Out of the 10, 8 of them had no cost or they were super low cost. And I talk about those options because not every student will have parental support. Not all of them their families will have the financial means to do so. And there's so many ways to be strategic about costs. But for tonight's episode, we're talking specifically about college, the fees that your child or that you can expect to incur as they pursue their post-high school endeavors. So I didn't want to repeat some of this, and I wanted y'all to get a sneak peek at the college symposium that I did for First Baptist Church of Glenarden last weekend. We actually talked about this. What are some of the fees that we can expect to pay as parents or expect to sponsor as those who we love and support for our teens? So I want to catch this recap, and then we'll talk about it. Oh, Lord, doesn't have any sound. I guess y'all can't hear this, huh? Okay, so I'm going to walk you through it since you can't hear it. These are the estimated costs. And these are some of the things that you should consider when you're assuming the responsibility, financial responsibility for your children. In the video, I talked about having an understanding of the net costs that tuition just allows you to sit inside the classroom, literally, physically be present in the chair, right? But then you have your books. You also have transportation to and from the university if your child needs to come home for any illness, any death in the family, or holiday seasons, or they just want to see you and hug you. That's a fee as well. They also talked about laundry is a fee, any personal expenses that they may encounter, and your meal plan. Those are some of the costs that you have to incur or think about. Some of the costs that I think you should think about. And in the video, I talked about parents making it real. Like, let's make the cost real. And I'm going to skip this because you can't hear what I'm saying. But I talked about an exercise that I'm actually going to give you guys a spreadsheet tonight. An exercise that I want you to do to help you make the cost very real for your children. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat. And this link is to a Google Doc. I'm not asking for your email address. I'm simply giving this tool to you. But I want you and your child to sit down and write out every option that they're thinking about pursuing. And in this spreadsheet, it's a chart. On the left-hand side, all of the expenses that can be incurred if they select that option. In each column, you would be adding in every option, every school, trade school, every option that they're considering, how much it will cost. At the very bottom, there's a column for the total. So for all of the options, you'll have a total. And then at the very bottom, there's a total times 4, which is the estimated years or number of years that it would take a student to finish the program. So if it's a 2-year program, you can put times 2. The average student finishes college in 5 years. 4 is not the average. 4 was my goal, was my mama's goal when she dropped me off at campus too. Like 4 years and done. Everything else on you. That's what she said. So I was able to finish in 4. I do know that that is not the common year. So you will take those lists of each of the options that you and your student are submitting. And again, this is under the assumption that they do not receive scholarships or they receive very minimal scholarships. This just gives them a very tangible number. In the video I talked about, and I'm so sad that it did not play. Oh, it did play. We have volume. My volume is down. Y'all tell me, could y'all hear it? Let's see. Charles says, I lost my music scholarship and then took out a student loan, messed over my blessings. Charles, if you don't mind elaborating, what do you remember what caused you? Of course you remember, but do you mind sharing what might have caused you to lose the scholarship? And also let me know if you could actually hear the video that I was playing. Oh, you could not hear it. Okay. Charles said, all of those costs were covered by my scholarship, but I didn't have proper guidance. No one to say, hold on to that free ride. Yeah, that would be great guidance. Someone encouraging you to do so. And that's not uncommon for students who do receive a scholarship. Think about the things that you do receive for free and how you value it in comparison to the things that you actually have to pay for. And I feel like doing the exercise that I just explained to you, even if a student is on a full ride, it's a good way to make it real of what they're actually being privileged to earn with no cost. So if they have an understanding of how much it would cost, let's say if they were to lose the scholarship, there's a connection between that. It's a real number. For students who receive a full ride, who have no understanding of how much money, like how much, if they really calculated how much it would really cost them, with no understanding of that, it's really difficult to value. But with an understanding, you could value it. Meaning whatever role that you have to play academically, you'd show up a little better for. And so I'm an advocate of making things very real. Like it's difficult for some of our kids to conceptualize why their compounding decisions could affect them in the long term. One way we can make it easy for them is to make it real. In the video I talked about, once you add those numbers up and you multiply them times 4 or 5, consider interest. If you're borrowing the money with federal loans or private loans, they're interest bearing. Most of them. You could receive loans that don't that don't are not interest bearing while you're in school, but as soon as you finish, the interest resumes, or it starts to be applied. And so thinking about that, I mentioned in the video that my student loans have almost doubled. And so if you multiply that number times 4, it comes out to be 80. That's just without any interest. So just getting them to conceptualize these costs are real. So let's do our best to make the best financial decision for not just you, but for the family as a whole. So again, I dropped that link in the chat if you did not get it. If you like to do the spreadsheet or the exercise, I think it's a great way to do that. Okay, so I hear you guys did not hear the video. I don't know why they didn't play. Hey, Deaconess Moses. Charles said, I let my grades drop below 2.0 after being on academic probation. Too many fraternity parties. Well, listen, you was having a good time, okay? Wow. Well, that's not uncommon. I'm glad you're sharing that, because for those families who are watching or students who are watching, just a great reminder of sometimes our decisions, just a bigger picture of of how our behaviors can impact or compound other decisions along the way. Tanya said, make it plain. Yes, the exercise is definitely to make it plain. So once you've done that, once you've added all of your options in the spreadsheet, you total them up and multiply them times 4, have the conversation about interest. This is a great way to teach that, by the way. The next step that I'd like you to take is to do some research about the average salary. I think we talked about this, that the person would receive, the average salary of the person who would be studying the thing that they're interested in studying. Now, average is not an indication. It's not a real number, but it does give them something to wrap their head around. I think when I did this exercise when I was an undergrad, the average communication specialist or communications professional was about $60K. And at the time, no, that wasn't a lot of money then. But when I was 25, I had exceeded that. So I say that to say, and that didn't take long to do, maybe 4 years. But there were some of my colleagues who, right out of undergrad, they were already making $60K with maybe an internship, depending on what they were studying. Nursing and accounting were two that I know for sure. They were already at that number. So good ways to have conversations about the costs that they could incur on the front end. I'm always like, let's have a conversation in the beginning so that we can make the decision. What are some other costs, for those of you who are watching live, what are some other costs that, what's the biggest one that frightens you the most? What's the cost that frightens you the most? I want to say this. The thing that the reason why I love to give or love to talk about all of the options outside of college is because the families and students who are pursuing college, because culturally we identify it as the next step, but they are not committed to learning, doing the academic work, showing up for class, and eventually decide to part their ways, but they incur debt to try it out. I feel like those are the families and students who are most disadvantaged. And there are other low costing or no cost ways to go and try something out. We talked about some of them in the 10 post-high school options, 10 options that students have post-high school. We talked about that in the summer. But if I could just give you 3 really quickly. If you have a student, they're not sure what they want to do, money is a little tight, you're a little hesitant about taking out student loans because you are not quite sure that they are ready for that level of investment financially. Year Up is a free program, learn as you earn, meaning they pay you to sit in a classroom. They assign you to a 1-year, kind of like an internship with different kinds of companies. Microsoft is one, Deloitte is one. Job Corps is another one. I know it is stigmatized for an option for students who don't have another option, but I like to challenge our perspective about why these programs exist. And that is really to provide a pipeline for very workforce ready individuals. So if you have a student who's trying to figure out their way, they want to get their feet in, not sure if they like IT, not sure if they like construction, not sure if they want to be hands-on, I think those kinds of programs are very valuable. Year Up, Job Corps, Peace Corps, AmeriCorps. Also, two great alternative programs for a student to go in a service capacity for a year. Sometimes you can do it for a summer. And the benefits are really after you serve. You get there's this thing in the federal government where you get hiring preference, meaning if you are competing up against other applicants, you would be more favorable because you have served. Same thing with military service. Obviously, you receive a living stipend. You have the opportunity to travel the world, and you have time to figure it out without being financially penalized. That's more so what I'm concerned about, is the being financially penalized because you were trying to figure it out. I think that there are other ways we can exhaust that don't cost any money, that would be more of a benefit than just trying college. Community college is another option as well. Oh, Meltania calling you out, Charles, huh? So yeah, I wanted to talk about those costs. Now that you have an understanding about costs, shameless plug, I do have a scholarship fund. It is only for students who reside in my backyard, students who live in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. And applications will open for that in January. I am very committed to helping students who look like me, who are where I'm from, supporting them along their journey, whatever they decide. So if they're deciding to attend a 2-year college, which could be a trade school or apprenticeship, or 4-year college, they are eligible. The scholarship will be open for rising freshmen going into their post-high school pathway, trade school or college, 4 years, all the way up until your college junior year, second semester. And so the application opens in January. We will be giving away $4,000 scholarships. I had to think about it because I'm slow in math. And we'll begin fundraising efforts for that really soon. So while I do educate parents about the costs and students about the realities, about the financial burden that they could potentially be taking on, getting them to think about it, I am also contributing to the solution of driving costs down by way of philanthropy. And I'm really grateful that I'm even in a position to do so. And I'm excited to raise the funds to definitely be an asset to families this coming semester. Last thing I'm going to say is last night, my co-founder and I, I should have showed you all some footage. We checked in with the 5 students who we awarded the scholarships to last year. 3 of them showed up out of the 5, and we got a chance to hear about their college experience, what they were doing, what they felt about their campus, their roommates. And it just warmed my heart. It warmed my heart. They're still excited. They're doing well academically. They said they're good. They don't need no help. One of them really loved their roommate. And so we're committed to holding their hand through this process, while we're also being a financial blessing to them as well. And so I just wanted to shout them out. Shout out to Kenneth at the University of Virginia. Shout out to Abel at Sony at Oswella in New York. And then shout out to Micah. He's over at the HU, Howard University. And so we're super proud of them. And hopefully there'll be more students whose journey I can be a small part of. Quick announcement. I got a new book coming out. Did you hear the news? The Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens. It's a workbook. It kind of looks like this on the inside. Whole lots of activities about self-discovery, self-esteem, community engagement. Their last segment, which is my favorite, A Life of Excellence. We talk about how you can capitalize on your natural innate skills and abilities to impact your community and then live out a life of excellence so you can be a contributor to the economy. We also talk about the Buy Black movement, where it came from. Oh, they write their own bio. I mean, I'm excited about the project. I haven't seen anything like this, especially not for students who look like me. And, this was a really bold project. I don't serve a particular demographic, but I have realized that a particular demographic comes to me to service them, and that is a Black student. And so I'm not only proud about the students that I've served, I'm excited about watching them mature on their journey. Thank you, Meltania. You said awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I am. So listen, family, as far as cost, take the time to do the exercise that we talked about today. You have the spreadsheet. If you don't want to use the spreadsheet, you can make your own spreadsheet, honestly. But I think it's a great activity. Make the numbers real And to make them more real, you can compare them to something that they'd like to buy. You can compare them to their dream car. You can go look in a home brochure, see how much a house would cost, compare it to that, to an apartment for a year, like the rent for a year, the things that they would like to buy after they graduate college. So if you know they want to move out, what rent would cost, how much it would cost to get that car that they want, make the numbers real so that they can make the best financial decision. And also so that they can be very zealous about completing those scholarships and keeping them, like the wisdom that our brother Charles shared. Yes, Maltani says she's looking forward to sharing the sharing of my new project. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it too. I've been working on this book since January. This is not a new thing, so I'm excited to get it out. Like I'm tired of reading it again. We're on our 5th sets of revisions, so I don't want to read no more. But I'm definitely grateful. I'm grateful for another project that God birthed through me to be of value to your home. Listen, that's all I have for tonight's Teenage Thursday. This wraps up our Graduation Ready series and finale. Please share this with someone. If you have a parent or a teacher or an educator who you think could benefit from anything we talked about for the month of October, please do. And I will see you next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're actually shifting for the month of November. We'll be highlighting non-traditional careers. Next Thursday, we have a violinist. Her name is Chelsea Green. She's thebomb.com. She's going to talk a little bit about how she got into the industry as a musician. I'm excited to hear her story. And so I will see you next Thursday. We'll be here with Chelsea Green. And enjoy your weekend. Love you. There's nothing you can do about it.